everyone. Welcome to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, you're hearing about it here in speech class, but I'm sure that many of you have already heard about it. And if you haven't, you're going to hear about Maslow's theories over and over and over. So you might have heard them in English class. You might have heard them in sociology, psychology, early childhood behavior. Like, you're going to hear about this over and over because basically this theory says that if certain needs are not met, you cannot evolve. So, for instance, if you're not alive, you don't care what kind of job you have. You don't care if you have friends, right? It doesn't matter what kind of house you have because you're not living. So you can kind of see how this is happening. Like, we are moving through the pyramid right now. Like, we're seeing it really clearly right now with COVID. So let's say that you know someone who had a really great job. And seemed like they had plenty of money, and they had the car that they wanted, and their kids were in college, and everything's moving right along, and bam, COVID happens, and their school shuts down. And so they have to come home, and maybe mom and dad got laid off. All of a sudden, we're right down here at physiological and safety. Are we well? Maybe you know someone who's gotten sick, and the only thing that they're thinking about right now is physiological. That's it. So you can see how overwhelming it can be when there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people here in the U.S. and then think of the many, many, many more around the world that are literally at the bottom of the pyramid. So a hierarchy means that there's some things on the list that are more important than others, and physiological is really the most important. So for this hierarchy, we're going to start at the bottom. Now, for your assignment, I would like you to pick two of the steps in the pyramid that you feel will resonate with your audience. Where do they live with the topic? Now, you can think about how you feel about it, and if you feel like you have some commonality with your audience, you might want to examine your own priorities and then think about how that may play out with your audience. That's fine. But if you're working with our audience, I want you to think about some of the things that are most important to your audience and then choose two of the pyramid to specifically address in your speech. Now, people always ask me, well, do I have to say that I'm addressing safety or can I just use it in my language? My answer is yes. That's not fair. You can do both, all right? Some people want to make sure that I got the message that you're dealing with love and belonging, and they want to say, hey, I'm dealing with love and belonging. This is how this topic plays into that. If you want to be that on the nose, you absolutely can. You're trying to get those points. It's 100 points for this speech. So I want you to do what you have to do to make sure I'm getting the message. As the other things that we've talked about, your organizational pattern and Aristotle, I want you to put the two areas that you're addressing with your audience on your cover sheet. That way, if I'm not exactly sure what you're doing, I can look at your cover page and go, okay, I get what they're doing. And if I'm even more confused, I can send you a message in Canvas and say, hey, can you clarify this for me? For some of you are addressing some of these ideas for the very first time, and you might think you're hitting self-actualization and maybe I'm not sure, so I just want to talk to you about it. No big deal. That happens all the time. So let's look at it this way. We've got physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. Let me tell you a story. So let's imagine that I am homeless and I have two kids. I am homeless and I have two kids. Every single moment of my life is about physiological. Everything I do is how to keep us alive, literally. Where we sleep, are we going to have any water? Are we going to have food? Where do we get to have any privacy? Are my kids okay? This is what I do 24/7. Now, you can see that it says excretion, right? You might be thinking, what? Hey, you got to do it, right? You got to poop. Now, I want you to imagine that you live on the street and how dehumanizing it would be to have to find a place to have privacy. And if you had two little kids, how hard it would be. Okay? So this isn't about how we got there. This is only about being human. So for this little part of our persuasive topics in terms of learning, I want you to get that empathy out. And I want you to think about people that are experiencing that from a very human level. Okay? So all day long I'm dealing with this. I can barely get my kids to school because I don't have any money to put them on the bus. I don't trust that. We're not necessarily in the same neighborhood as the school. This is a problem. If I could just get them to school, because at school there's food. All right, at school there's food. That's why LAUSD has stepped up so much during COVID, because there are so many children where the only regular food they're getting is at school. So if schools are closed, that's a problem. So let's say that I'm trying to get me and my kids to a shelter, and I always miss the cutoff, or there are many shelters who don't accept kids, and I can't get to the one that does, and I'm on the street with my kids. Not great, right? But let's say I try to figure it out, and I finally get it figured out, and a couple nights a week I'm starting to stay at a shelter. So shelters are notoriously unsafe, especially for women and children, but at least it's better than being on the street. So I'm moving up here to safety a little bit right here. Okay, I'm not 100% secure yet with my body and my family. Our health is still not great because we don't have access to healthy food, but it's better. So let's say I kind of get in a rhythm and I'm able to get to the shelter in a more consistent basis. And in getting to the shelter, I've found one that has maybe a little bit of job development. Maybe they have an old computer I can use to make a resume. Maybe they have an organization that comes in and they help us pick out some clothes that we can use for an interview. And I do all of those things and take advantage of the resources, and I'm able to get a part-time job. So where would be a great place for me to have a part-time job in this situation? What do you think? Yeah, so like the 99-cent store, or a fast food place where I have access to food, or a grocery store, right? So you can see how hard that might be right now, right? If I don't have a car, I can't be working for Instacart or the delivery that's still open, but maybe there's some other places that I can get a job. So let's just say that we're not in COVID and I get a job at Starbucks. So Starbucks is good because it seems professional. They do have some food there, and I start working. So now my safety is a little better because I have a little money coming in, a little money, so my resources are better right here, right? I'm a little bit more secure because I have some money. I can maybe take my kid to the doctor because I have enough for a copay, or I can go to one of the free clinics because now I have a little bit more money so I can use public transportation. So that's going in a good direction. And let's say that I do pretty good. I'm doing pretty good at the job. And so I get more on a routine. I start to meet people at the job. Maybe I get a raise or a promotion. And now maybe I am able to afford to rent a room. I'm able to rent a room so I can get us out of the shelter. Now I want you to think about what your rooms look like. Think of all the equipment you had. Think about when you were a little kid, all the things you had on the wall. What bands did you like? Who were you? Oh my God, I'm so in love with. Who are these people that you admired? Who are the people that you admire now? Did you have stuffed animals? Did you have a truck? Did you have makeup? Whatever. Think about your rooms and think about how important it is to have some of your own belongings. So now I have two little kids and me in a room, but each kid gets to have a portion of the room. They each have a corner to call their own. They're going to school more often. So they're starting to be here, making some friends. Our family feels a little bit more cohesive because we're safer. We're off the street. So we're in one room, and it's not in a great neighborhood, but at least it's better than where we were. We could start to feel like a family again. That's important. Now let's say that I meet somebody at the Starbucks, and that person wants to see me naked. What? And I want that person to see me naked. I'm like, I do. And here we are. Sexual intimacy is a big deal. To have that trustworthiness with someone, to feel seen by someone. Someone thinks I'm cute. They think I'm funny. They like my kids. I start to get a little something going. Okay, it's looking up. And so my self-esteem takes a boost, right? I'm starting to develop some confidence. I get promoted at my job. On top of that, I get a second job, right? And then I meet other people that have kids, and we're all working together so we can get our kids to school. My kids are feeling more secure, right? I have a sense of achievement. I meet other people. I can see maybe some potential of what I could be, right? I'm starting to get respect by people, and maybe I get a full-time job. I get a full-time job. I have benefits. I'm feeling really good. My self-esteem is up. My confidence is up. I get to quit one of those other part-time jobs because now I'm in a better place. I'm in a better place. It's consistent. We're all going to the dentist, so our health is better. My kids are eating fresh food instead of just packaged food. They're getting healthy. They feel better. I feel better. And then I start to think, if I can do that, I think I can do just about anything. And I've always wanted to be a nurse. So I'm going to go to the local community college, and I'm going to get a BOG waiver or a scholarship, or maybe the job where I have the full-time job. Maybe Starbucks has a program where you can go to school, and I decide I'm going to take one class at the community college, one class. And then I start to really achieve something. I feel like I'm really working towards a goal, and I actually feel like I can do it. And I take one class. One class. And I keep taking one class every semester until I know I can take more classes. And then I start to take some computer classes. And I take an online class because I got an old laptop. Or I checked one out at the library at the school. Or I can go to my local library and I have more flexibility to do that. And then I can be at home with my kids and tuck them in. Right? Things are going in the right direction. And then my man at the Starbucks is not supporting my achievement, so I kick him to the curb because I met someone at school, and he also wants to see me naked, and I want to see him naked, and he loves me, and he supports me in terms of saying, you can do it. Right? I have some trust with another person. I have a connection to another person. We are building a family together and things are good. And eventually I graduate and then I go to nursing school because I got an awesome referral from my speech teacher. She wrote me a reference letter and now bang, I got into nursing school and I become a nurse. And I make a difference. And my kids start to see me do that and they think I can go to college too because my mom did it. And they do. And eventually I think, oh, you know what? I want to go into management. So I go and get a master's degree, or I up my credibility, or not my credibility, but my schooling when it comes to being a nurse, right? It's happening. And I get up here. Self-actualization. I'm not worried every single second about all this stuff. So I can start to see other ways of solving problems. I'm not in survival mode anywhere. I'm here. I can go on a trip on a weekend if I want to, because I don't have to count every single penny. I have some more spontaneity. I've gone out into the world and I've met people from every possible walk of life, from every country. I have met people that look like me in college. I've met people that don't look like me in college. I maybe learned another language. I've learned more about Peru. I've learned about the Armenian genocide. I've learned that other people are awesome and that it's great to not be like everybody else. So I start to not be as prejudiced as I might have been down here. I start to meet other people that are evolving that way. I know how to look at information and use my critical thinking, so I accept actual facts. Or I go to school and I learn something that I thought was true isn't. But because I have a brain that's working and I've been educated, I can tell the difference. This is amazing. Now look, I've gone from homeless with 2 kids to the nurse of the year in about, 14 minutes. Obviously, it's a lot harder than that. But that's what Maslow's hierarchy need is all about. You have to address some things before you can address others. Some people get stuck. They get stuck along the way. Or like we've seen in the last couple of months, people are living large right up here. They're accepting. They've got blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden something goes wrong and boom, they're right down here. We can see people in the media that are not accepting facts and are going to the beach. They're protesting that they should be able to go out into the world. Okay. That's probably not going to end well for some people, right? Because they're here, right? Or those same people that are saying you can't tell me what to do with my body are the same people that tell women that they can't do what they do with their body, right? All of us kind of move up and down here. All of us move up and down. Things are going great, we get sick, we're down here, right? We're married and we're happy, we get a divorce. Now maybe we're down here. We get laid off, we're down here. We get an award at work, we're here, right? You get on the honor roll, achievement, respect by others. We're moving along throughout our lives and we go up and down, and sometimes we're in more than one level at a time. This is an incredibly important thing. Some of your topics are strictly about self-esteem. Some of your topics are strictly about safety. You know, college campuses are traditionally not that safe. So if you're going to teach us, or if you're going to persuade us to take a course in self-defense, then you're probably here, right? Safety is definitely one of them. Any topic can play into any one of these levels. You're going to pick two. You are going to pick two that you're going to concentrate on as you try to, with logic, ethos, or pathos, appeal to your audience through the structure of your organizational pattern. All right, see what I did there? This is an incredibly important part of your assignment. So check it out. Take a look in the book. Read the material. Think about it in your own life when you've been here and when you've been here. All right? Give it some thought. Think about having some empathy for people that you disagree with. Look, we all have our opinion about everything that's going on. Finding a way to find some common ground and have empathy for people that you are mad at, or you disagree, or you think they're dumb, or whatever it is, incredibly important. Finding the humanity in others and addressing that commonality so you can solve problems. It's hard. I'm asking you to do something really hard, but you can do it. You can do it. So get to it, all right? Think it through. Do some research. Face yourself a little bit. Accept a few facts here and there, why don't you? All right? Okay, that's it, guys. Those are the lectures. So revisit them if you need to. Ask some questions if you need to. I have no doubt in my mind that these assignments are going to crush. Right? Your informative speeches were great, and I know you can do it. All right? Ask for help. Ask for help. All right. Bye, everyone.